Today I saw the new Suicide Squad movie, and I'm going to do a bit of a two-part thing with this video. The first portion, I'm actually going to give a little mini review of the movie, and then the second portion, and this is where the title comes from, is going to be a bit of a rant, revolving around that. Now, as for the Suicide Squad movie itself, it was fantastic. It was better than I could have ever hoped for. I didn't go in with low expectations. I went in with slightly reserved expectations. What I was hoping for out of this, and I got exactly what I wanted DC's version of Guardians of the Galaxy. I wanted something a bit more lighthearted, a bit more silly, with plenty of action, sure, but not the grim dark that DC has become over the years since the Nolan trilogy. I wanted something a bit goofier, funnier, less mental, more, well, crazy mental, but less smart mental. And this delivered in everything I could have hoped for. Am I saying the movie is perfect? Hell no. It is far from perfect. It's got plenty of issues. It is still a great movie that I would recommend watching. With that said, Rotten Tomatoes, go fuck yourself. Okay? Critics, go fuck yourselves. Okay? What in the goddamn hell are you looking for anymore? I don't get it. I really don't. Help me to understand, please. This movie, as of right now, sits, according to the critics, at a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. 26%. And that's not just because it's only been a few reviews that have given it a very sharp turn down. No, I'm going to pull up the exact number. On Rotten Tomatoes, as of my recording, this is based off of 245 actual reviewer reviews. What exactly do you want? I'm serious. I need to know. And it's not like this is a weird sort of shift thing. I use the comparison Guardians of the Galaxy because that is what this movie is. It is DC's version of Guardians of the Galaxy. A bunch of misfits banding together to stop a really, really fucking powerful evil. And the misadventures along the way, a lot of humor, some goofiness, nothing too serious, pretty well done. That's what this was. Guardians sits at a 91% with 288 reviews. Compare that. Do that for me. Compare that for me. Guardians got 91% with 288. Suicide Squad has 26% with 245. How? How is this possible? And here's where the crux of my complaint comes in. Now, a few months ago, maybe up to a year ago, I predicted that I was going to see the largest divide between critics and users I'd ever seen. I thought that was going to be from Ghostbusters. I was wrong because I based that off of the idea that it was going to be a shit movie from the trailers. Turns out it was mediocre, and they wanted people to think it was shit so they could fuel the rage machine. Whatever, you've seen other videos about that. This was what I had called about a year ago, except it's flipped. I thought that critics were going to give an unreasonably high and then fans were going to give the inverse low. This is backwards with Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, as I said, sits at 26% for reviewers. For fan reviews, and it's not some small number. This is based on 85,000 reviews. It's at 73%, which is about where I'd say it should be. Wasn't fantastic, like I said, or it wasn't the best thing ever. It wasn't perfect. It was still really good. I would say fantastic. I enjoyed it more than the average person would, I think. But that's about where I would put it, probably. I've noticed that this has been happening a lot lately, that reviewers have been just completely missing the ball on what audiences want. This movie is what audiences were wanting. We weren't wanting another Dark Knight. We've had that with Man of Steel. We've had that with Batman vs. Superman. We wanted something more lighthearted, more funny, and just action. And we got it. But reviewers, they seem to still want Dark Knight. Dark Knight existed, therefore all DC movies must now be Dark Knight, otherwise they're bad. This is what I'm getting. And I say that because I think that reviewers do have a bias against DC. And people say, no, they don't. They reviewed Dark Knight well, so obviously there's no bias against DC there. It's because Dark Knight was what they were wanting. It was dark. It was brooding. It was intelligent. That is what critics at the time wanted. That is what fans at the time wanted. So it meshed up really nicely. This is not the case. This was never intended to be anything close to Dark Knight. From every bit of advertising I've seen about the movie, it was never supposed to be a serious action movie. It was always an action comedy. It was always DC's Guardians. And they delivered. And yet, again, 91-26. So I think that there's a little bit of a bias there, but not enough to have created this much of a disparity. I don't think this was, we're going to review this bad because DC. Nah, I think it's just that they went in wanting Dark Knight and not getting that, and being upset that they didn't get that. But this is why I think review aggregate sites are stupid. This had such an effect on the internet that there was actually a very largely signed petition to get Rotten Tomatoes taken off the internet. Now, that's going fucking too far, okay? I think this site is stupid. I think there's no point in it anymore. I think person reviews, people that you trust, those are what you should stick with rather than aggregate sites. I think that this site still has a right to exist. I mean, come on. I just don't listen to it. I don't take it seriously. I might point to it as sort of an idea, but I don't use it for actual serious reference anymore. And I wish that more people would come to realize that Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, any of these kind of sites like that, they are shit. They don't work anymore. Especially because what people want is vastly different from what reviewers want. And it's going to keep happening time and time again. I will not be surprised if this time next year there's another half dozen cases like this. It's been getting worse every year, and I'm amazed that it was this one that did it, but I'm not surprised that it happened in general, and it will keep happening until people finally get it through their skulls. Don't listen to these sites. Anyway, this has been just a bit of a rant about aggregate review sites in general and why they are shit. Stop using them, please. Listen to people rather than these bulk gather review sites. You'll save yourself a bit of sanity. Math Machine just ranting about shit from after watching a DC movie. I do that a lot these days, apparently. Peace out.